basically a digital bulletin board. It's kind of like a mix up between like your Pinterest, your social media stream, like the Instagram. Like it can be used for a lot of different things in your classroom as well as in your office or out of classroom environment. So I'm going to start off by sharing some of the features of this. So this is my dashboard when you go ahead and log in. And for the free version of Padlet, it will allow you to have 3 boards, up to 3 boards for the free version. If you want to do the paid version, then you'll have unlimited boards, and I think that's like $8 a month. But for most people, they can suffice with 3 boards. But if you really go crazy with your Padlet and you want to go ahead and upgrade, you can. So, and I'll share the link as well for that. So I'm going to start by from scratch. Let's just make a Padlet. And so when you look here, you can start with a blank, and they have 8 different types of Padlets that you can choose from. And I'll show you a little bit about each one and what they can do. But first, I'll just show you what Padlet in general will do for you. So we're just going to select the wall, which is usually the most common Padlet that people have. And the first thing that you'll do is they'll give you some random backdrop, and they'll give it a random title and description. And so what you want to do is then you can come over here and you can modify all this. Okay, so I'm going to call this my training Padlet. And here is just going to be showcasing all of the wonderful features. And this is very important when you first start your Padlet, before you share it with anyone, that you come in and you change all these settings, okay? So I've given it a title, a brief description. If you want to give it an icon, you can give it an icon. So I'm going to do like, I don't know, maybe like a notebook. Let's go to objects. Okay, we're going to do a notebook. If you want to personalize the address, the link to your Padlet, so by default, it's going to be padlet.com, whatever your username is, and then it gives some random information here. But I'm actually going to rename it to Training Padlet. So now the link will be padlet.com/SharnaeMTunson/Training Padlet. Okay, and then for your appearance, you can change your background. You can select solid colors, or they have gradient colors, textures and patterns that are already there, and then pictures, okay? And then you can always upload your own. So if you go to your, let's say one of the images that I created using my Canva and my BITMOJI, then we can see what's in here. I've got this. That could be my background. So you can customize your Padlet background using those as well, okay? Let's see, do I want it to blur? That's kind of distracting, okay? So there's my background. If you want to change your color scheme and your fonts, you can. Attribution is if you want to see the name of the person that's going to make the post. So if you're using this as a collaborative item and students are going to be adding to it, then you definitely want to turn that on so that it shows their name, unless you're going to tell them, make sure you type your name before you start. It also will require them to log in. And again, students can go to padlet.com and create their free student account as well. And I'll tell you why a little bit later they may want to create a student account. How do you want your post to show? Do you want to show the first post, the newest post first? Or do you want to show the newest post last? Okay, so I'll just leave it for first for now. And then comments. Do you want to allow viewers to be able to comment on your post? Let me turn this on. Just because it's all about collaboration and feedback. So it's really important to have that, but it's your choice. And then if you want people to be able to give reactions, you want to be able to like the post, vote, give it stars, or actually give it a grade. So I'll just put like for now. And then here's where you can kind of moderate the posting. So do you want to approve posts before students can put anything? Do you want to filter profanity? Of course, we always want to do that with our students. And I'll put require approval just to show you. So once you have all of your settings down, then you can go ahead and select next, and now you are ready to start posting. Okay, so there's different type of ways you can use this. So let's say I want to ask a question. Okay, so I'm going to click on here. That was just a little thing, and I'm going to put I'm going to put the title. Let's see. What is one thing that you have learned from our e-learning training series? Okay, so I'm going to put that there. And now what I can do is share. I'm going to get a shareable link. Okay, it's now copied, and now I can go ahead and paste it. I'm going to paste the link in the chat box, and you guys can go ahead and click on that link, and then you can either add a comment here, or you can just directly click the plus sign and then add in your response that way. So while we're going through the training, go ahead and feel free to do that. So let's talk about a couple of different other options that you can do. You could use Padlet to showcase student work. So let's say you have your students, you give them an assignment to create a slide that shows the college that they would like to go to. So I know, like in our PE class, the teacher had the students just to do some research, to practice researching. And they had to do a slide and had to show a picture of the college, their mascot, different things like that. And so every student, when they complete their assignment, you would give them the link to your Padlet, and they would go ahead and turn it in by uploading it. So let me show you where we can see some examples of that.
This was just cut into.
Trying to see, where do we have one? Where do we have one in here? Sometimes when you go in here and you open them, they don't have anything there. Okay, so here's an example where different groups shared items on what they were researching. So they were researching bridges, and then each group uploaded their information to this particular board. The teacher just shared the pad link. Is there anything in this portfolio? There's nothing there. Oh, you guys, these templates. Well, anyway, we'll go to my templates. I thought we would have something there worthwhile to see. But this gallery is here. You can also join a Padlet if you know the URL for it. So let's take a look at, I think I have some. So this could be one where it's a collaborative activity. The title is Picture Books for Parents, Teachers, and Learners. And then here they put up the different themes or categories of books. And then they had their different collaborators to then go ahead and add some sample books that fit underneath these different categories. So here's another way you can collaborate using this. Let's see if I wanted to do, let's do my Padlet. Where we go, my training Padlet. Let's say if I want to do some math problems, because I always like to use Mr. Finta as an example because he's here. So let's say I want to do 2 times 2 plus 2 minus 2 equals. Then I'll put that there. And then I will put another problem. Let's say 56 plus 56 minus 6 equals. Okay, and let's say you have a bunch of these posted on the board. What you can do is you can set a timer, and then you give the students the Padlet link, and then they have to go in and they have to solve one. Just like kind of you would do like a do now, you have the kids go to the board and solve a problem. This would be the same thing. They would put like their name and then their answer. Or what they could do is underneath here, let me show you. They could take the problem. So they could put the answer, and then what they would do would be to come here down to draw, and then they would have to work it out. 56 plus 56 minus 6. Okay. Then you would save that drawing, and then you would have them put their name and then the answer. Okay, so a great way to for them to demonstrate their work for math problems. For Spanish, I like to give the Spanish examples as well, because I know Drew is here. We can say translate the following. Bonus points if you record, if you make an audio recording. Okay. My dog's name is Jack. Okay, so then the students could respond here, and they could say, is it me?
Me.
Me, M-E?
M-I.
M-I, oh, that's right, okay. So mi perro nombre es Jack, right? Then I could go down here to voice, allow it to use my microphone. Mi perro's nombre es Jack. So it's saved here, and there's also my response as well. Similarly as the teacher, you could record your instructions in Spanish. So let's say I want to give them something to do in Spanish. ¿Cómo se llama? Go back and save it. And then for here, I can put for instructions, translate and respond. So the students would then play it. ¿Cómo se llama? Me llamo Jorge. And then the next student would add their name, the next student would add their name. So these are just, you know, some of the cool things that you can do in terms of getting student interaction and getting it all in one place. Because if a student is struggling, like, oh man, I can't remember or I can't pronounce it, then maybe they could go ahead and play another student's audio, and then they would try to mimic it and then they would feel more comfortable responding, because we know sometimes kids are hesitant to respond when they think that they're going to get it wrong. So if they have these examples right then and there and they can play it before they add theirs, then that is a fantastic way to set this up. Let me also show you that, so at the very beginning, I showed you the different kinds of boards. And so we chose the wall one. But let's say I wanted to change this to shelf. Okay, so column one. Oh, did you put everything under here? Yeah, so it by default, it put everything under my first column. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna rename this column, and I'm gonna call this Spanish 1. I'm gonna add a column here, and I'm gonna call it Math 1. Okay, and then all you have to do is I can take my math and put it underneath my math column. It's there. There. Okay, and then I'm gonna need to have a column for tech training, because some of you guys are responding to that. And here's my tech training. So this is pretty cool. You can organize it for students. Let's say, you know, for math, maybe in this column, I want to put the problem here, 56 plus 40 equals, save that. And then the students would then have to go ahead and show me how they work it out. There you go. So then all the students will put their answers, you know, here, if you really want to focus on them showing the work. So let's see, what else do I want to show you? This is really good because as a teacher, you can post a sample for the students. So like in the one when I said translate this, and as a teacher, I recorded the prompt that I want them to translate. If there is, let's say they're doing an essay and you want to do a sample topic sentence or anything like that, it's a great way to be able to show the students. If students are working on research projects, or you have them working on a research project and you want to share links, this is a fantastic way to share links. There's a search function in here, right here, where, you know, you can search for images, you can search for videos, how to solve multi-step equations. Look at that, tons of videos. And let's say I want to take this video, pop it in here, and I'm gonna give them instructions. Watch this video, take notes, and solve the problem below. Okay, so after they do this, they take their notes, and then you can Oh, actually, it's going to be solve the problem above. But I think, oops, sorry. I think you can move this up. Well, let me put it in. I don't know. What's a multi-step equation? Would it be like x, oh yeah, 4x plus 9 equals, you see, I'm just copying off of the video. 4x plus 9 equals 2x minus 6. Okay, so now we have this, and you do that. Or you could even say, you can put this on top and say, solve this equation. If you get stuck, refer to the video below. Okay, so that's also another way that you can do it. Let's see, what else do they have in this search? Gifts, if you want to lighten up the mood. I'm so excited. Shaq is always a fool. He's shacked in a fool. Say, are you ready for your pop quiz? Just have a little humor and keep it interactive. I'd be very curious to see what some student responses are in that chat, in that comment box. Let's see what else is under the search feature. You can search for audio clips, translate Spanish phrase. Okay, so now let's do that. Let's see. Audio, Spanish, speaking. Okay, so they've got some things to help them learn Spanish, or some music if you want to. Okay, and then there's just general webs, if you want to search websites, things like that. And these are all things that you can add here in the search. Okay, so far I've shown you that you can upload a file. And notice how it automatically saved all these to my little Padlet drive. You can add, you know, a graphic. If you want to, let's say I wanted to share this with them, the handout, you can add a link to something, okay? Maybe it's a link to a website that you want them to take a peek at. You can add a photo. So let's say you ask a quick question as an icebreaker. The first person to take a picture holding a spoon gets 5 bonus points. You know, the kid runs, they get the spoon, they come back, they take a picture, they save it, they upload it. And there you go, you know, you'll see who the first person is. So even if you ask them to show something, or maybe someone is getting stuck on a math problem and you want to explain it, or, you know, anything like that. Sky's the limit with that. Okay, let's see. So we did upload, link, Google, Snap. You can do a video recording. So if you want them to demonstrate something, if you want them to video record the speaking in Spanish, they could do that. We saw the voice. You can actually record your screen. So like if a student has a problem and you want to show them how to navigate something, like, oh, miss, I can't find the homework assignment in the Google Classroom. Well, then you can screen record the whole screen. And it's recording, and I'm going to say, okay, sweetie, you're going to go to our Google Classroom. And what I want you to do is, once you get in the classroom, because my internet is always slow, you will go ahead, and if you look under classwork and it's under week 3, that pre-assessment, that's what I want you to do. All right, and then after you do it, I want you to go ahead and turn it in for me. And then you just come back here, you stop it, you look good, save it, and it adds it right then and there. And it's, you know, this is really handy if you just want to do something really quick. I know I showed you guys Screencastify when I did the top 10 Chrome extensions. And then you also can always do a screen share and record it using Zoom. So, but this is just a really simple, quick option to get the information into the hands of your students right then and there. Let's see. You've seen me draw. You can add a location, or you can link to another Padlet that maybe you have. So let's say I've created a Padlet with all of the training resources that I've been doing with you guys. So I want to link it there, and then that way you know where it is. The other thing with audio, I know, Drew, you have your students doing it too, and I suggested doing like a podcast. So here's a way that you can do like a modified podcast. Let's say I'm going to give the students an example where I ask, share one frustration that you have had with this learning. I'm going to put here, record audio, and save it. And then when the student responds, then they know that they have to go to voice. My biggest frustration with distance learning is not being able to hang out with my friends. That was always the best part of coming to school every day. And now we can only communicate through text or online or in our Meet, our Zoom classes. So that's just like my biggest frustration. I'm just tired of being all alone. And then you have it. And the cool thing about it is once, you know, all the students record their audio, then you can go in and edit it in, you know, Soundtrap or wherever it is you want to edit it. The same thing with the video. You know, you can have them record their video clips, then you can edit it and then make, you know, one final video. Great way if you want to give like a group assignment or a collaborative assignment and each student has to record a part or something like that. You can do it all in there. This would be a good way to do, like if how student council does their announcements. This is a great way to do announcements where each person can record whatever their announcement would be, and then we put it all together and create just a little broadcast video and put it up, you know, in the Google Classroom. So there's so many things that you can do with this. The great thing about all of this is once you've done this, then you can go ahead and you can embed it directly to your Google Classroom. So again, everything works so well with Google Classroom. They just make it so easy for us to integrate all this and then choose an action. And I'm just, you know, depending on what it is, if it's an assignment that the kids will need to do, if it's a question, if it's just a material, I'm gonna just put it as a material for now. And I'm gonna just do your training practice Padlet. Okay, topic this week 2. Make sure you always organize it in your topic. And if you ever forget to do that, remember you can in your classroom go ahead and rearrange where everything is found. So here's our stream. Open up classwork, and right here in week 2 is our training practice Padlet. View the material, click view, and it takes you right there to our Padlet. So that is pretty cool. Again, if this layout doesn't work for what you want it to do, you can always go to your settings. Oops, that's not where it is. The 3 dots. Change format. And then you can figure out which, you know, one that you want. The Canvas one is the one that gives you the most freedom in terms of placement of items. So right now it just has everything stacked on top of each other. But let's just say, you know, I want to kind of space things out, you know, make like a little, do this first, you know, whatever the case may be. That's how Canvas works. Okay, so what I want to do now is actually open up a Padlet that I did that just shows you what the different ones look like. So I call it the Padlet of Padlets. And the first one that I want to show you is the timeline Padlet. And I thought this would be really good for the kids when they were doing PE. And the teacher was asking them to document what they did every day, what type of workout and things like that. So like, here's the plan, what the student is supposed to do. And then here on this timeline, they kind of mapped out what they did for the week. And then here the teacher has a self-assessment little thing for them to do. So this is pretty cool. They actually uploaded a screenshot of their run tracker, probably from their phone or their watch. That's pretty cool. So here's a great way to use the timeline Padlet. Okay, so that's one of the options. The second option is the wall Padlet. And again, this is the most frequently used one. And it just basically just puts everything in a neat like column and row. So for those of us who are really like OCD about how our things look, like you can't just move it anywhere. It's going to automatically snap back to where it's supposed to be. Okay, you can move them around, but it's just going to stay in that nice neat grid. Okay, so that is the wall Padlet. The next one is the canvas one, and again I showed you. So let's say if you want to have the freedom to be able to move things around, I figured I'm going to put everybody's Bitmoji here. And then let's say if during our PD I want to do breakout rooms, then maybe I would have you guys, I would have up here the different breakout rooms, and then I would have you just kind of put your Bitmojis, you know, under that breakout room that you would want to go to for PD, so that then I can prepare in advance and we can be ready to roll. So you can do this for like grouping, or, you know, if there's an interactive activity, like maybe students have to match up words, like in Spanish. Maybe here, this card is the picture, it's a picture of an orange. And then here is the Spanish word for orange, and the students then have to match it up. So you could kind of do that as well. So this is the Canvas layout. The back channel Padlet is pretty cool. It's kind of like a chat, like a response. And so I thought it would be interesting, you know, one of my 25 ways you can use Padlet is to do like a storytelling. And where, so like as the teacher, I start the story off. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named, and I stopped there. And then the next student would chime in and they would add the next part of the story, Sasha. And every day she wore a red bow in her hair in honor of, and then the student found a picture of Sasha. So we can now start to put visuals with our story. And the next student chimed in honor of her older sister, Shima, that passed away 2 years ago from, and then now the next student would add in the next part of the story. And this is really good because it allows the students to be creative, but it also allows them to put some of their personal like experiences. And so this may be a good way, and even for Ms. Lucero doing counseling with the students, like how do you navigate and, you know, through grief or whatever you may be struggling with through storytelling. So this is pretty cool. Drew, you could also definitely do this with Spanish. You know, start the story off in Spanish and then have the kids add to it, and they can also add pictures. You could also do a conversation, like maybe you have a discussion topic and then you just have the students kind of chime in, like what, you know, what's your opinion? It could be a movie, a clip from an article. It could be a video clip or an audio clip. Have the kids listen to it, and then they start doing their responses. And one, it'll just show up just like a stream. So this is pretty cool. Huh?
What format is it? Is it the wall format, the grid format? What's the format?
This one is it's called back channel. When you go to make a Padlet, it's this yellow one right here, back channel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's very restrictive in terms of formatting. It's just literally gonna pop them one underneath the other. Like you can't even move it over and all this kind of stuff. So it's very, you know, just this is how the story goes. So that is our back channel Padlet. The map Padlet you guys have seen. You can use this. I used it again for our dream vacation destination, where everyone had to place a pin where their dream destination is. You can also use it for like a scavenger hunt. There's this activity called it's geocaching. It's just similar to a scavenger hunt. You know, if the kids do like the Pokemon Go, you know, if you want to get them to do that. So there's different maps that you can go ahead and select from there. Let's see. You definitely can use it in history. If you're studying a culture or something like that. Those are all ideas. The grid Padlet is very similar to the wall. We looked at that one. Yeah, we looked at that one already. And let's see. The shelf Padlet, that's the one with the columns. So that one allows you to arrange things by categories, and then you can, you know, just put as many things underneath it as you can. So for me, like, I decided to put everything related to this training, to our trainings here, so that if someone needs to access it, it's easily found. So here's even the link to the YouTube video, the link to the handout, the schedule, you know, things like that. So this is pretty cool. I like the way you can arrange it. You can easily move something around if you need to. Yeah, this is the shelf Padlet. And then the stream Padlet is very similar to the channel, the back channel one, except, you know, it's just, you can do, the graphics are bigger on here. So if you want to just kind of show different things. So I took the one that I created with all the professional development opportunities and just put it there. Okay. So those are the different examples of the Padlets. The other thing is you can invite another teacher to collaborate or share on this board. So right here, you can invite people and search by name, username, or email. So if you were a member of Padlet, I could do, so let me do Seth.Amu. And then I can add, oh, he's on here too. He can write, so you can give them their, he can view and add posts, cannot edit or approve other people's posts. Okay, and then you save it, and so now when he comes in, then he'll be able to come in and move his post wherever whichever category he wants to do. So that's really good if you want to collaborate again with other teachers. Let's see. Another thing that you could use the shelf layout for is a KWL board. So like, kind of like a pre-assessment. So if you go to make a Padlet and I want to do my shelf, and let's say our topic, let's say I changed everything, you know, everything is ready to go how I want it to go. And our topic is going to be about, oh, actually, I take that back. I do want to change it. Because if this is going to be, okay, so the title is going to be distance learning. Okay, and then the description is going to be KWL, around distance learning. All right, so now that's there. I'm gonna close it. And then here is gonna be, what do you know about distance learning? Okay, save that. Say, what do you want to know? Okay, and then once we do whatever lessons we're going to do on distance learning, then we'll come back and we'll say, what have you learned? There you go. And then just like before, each student would come in and they would do their response. So you can say for title, they would put their name. And then here they can type their response. They can film a response. They can video record a response. If they want to demo something that they've learned with distance learning, they could do a screen capture of it. Okay, so this is a great assessment tool as well. So then when we look at here, and oops, where'd it go? So then when we come back and we look at this handout, 25 ways to use Padlet in your classroom, we've covered, you know, a couple of different things. You can use it as an icebreaker activity. I know Miss Burkett did 2 truths and a lie using Flipgrid. You can do the same thing here. You can have the students post, you know, 2 truths about themselves and a lie in their post, and then the kids have to comment underneath each person's post which one they think is the lie. You could do a birthday wall, give people shout outs. You could do an exit ticket, you know, ask a question for students at the end of your lesson and have them do it. This one I really like, where is it? Question bank during direct instruction. So let's say I'm doing a live Zoom and I've set up a Padlet for students and I've put the link in the chat box. And anytime a student has a question as I'm going through the live direct instruction, or even if it's a video that they're watching and they have questions, then they'll be able to go ahead and put a post on the Padlet. And then at the end of the lesson, you don't have to say, does anybody have any questions? Because then you can just go to your question board. And again, students may be more likely to ask questions that way than being put on the spot, you know, in the Zoom asking a question. So that's pretty cool. The other thing is the peer assessment and feedback, very similar to like the question during instruction. If a student is doing a presentation or sharing something and the other students can make comments on a Padlet, give feedback if it's a rubric, you know, whatever it may be. This free time funny videos is really cool. You can have a Padlet where if students come across a funny video or something that they think they might want to share with the class during free time, they can post it, and then you can of course approve it or not approve the video. And then whenever there is free time, the kids can go to the Padlet and kind of take a look at those things. So the good thing about Padlet, and if you watched the video that I did on the top 10 Chrome extensions, and I mentioned the bonus extension, there are 3 of them. Yesterday's was Cami, and then today is Padlet. There is a Chrome Padlet extension. I have it right here. And what it will do, let's say I find something interesting on the internet. Let's say, okay, so let's click on this link. And this is, I find this little whiteboard. It's a whiteboard of manipulatives that students can use. It's good for geometries, good for our visual learners, whatever the case may be. And I want to share this later, or I want to share this as a tool for students. So all I have to do is just click on the Chrome extension, Padlet Mini. And it's going to ask me which one of my Padlets do I want to put it on, or do I want to start a new Padlet. So I'm going to go ahead and just click post here to my training Padlet. And when you go to that training Padlet, now I've got to find my Padlets. When you go to the training Padlet, it's going to have right here. It posts that, it'll be the most recent post. And then because these, you can move them around however you want, you can move it around depending upon what format you have. Because if I were to post this to a Padlet that, let's say, is like in the columns, then it's going to create a new column. So which one of these had columns? This one. Post here, my e-learning training series. So now let me view it. See, it didn't post it right here. Instead, it created a new column over here, upload it to Padlet, upload it with Padlet, and then I would just take and file it in whatever column that it would need to go in. All right. So that are just some of the things that I have found about Padlet. I am really coming to love it a lot, and I see the possibilities with how it can be used, even for my professional development with my staff. So I'm excited to, just get these things going.